colleagues here together with me to also try to read through your comments and questions, and they will try to answer if they are able to. And for the rest of the questions, we would then look at them at the end of the presentation. So we will mute your mics, and do feel free to switch off the video if you would prefer, because I understand that sometimes the video feed do consume a lot of power on your devices. We will wait for a few more minutes and then we will start the session. Thank you. All right, good morning, parents. We have admitted all those who have been in the waiting room. So thank you for your patience and thank you for signing up for this session. So you should be able to see my slide on your screen. And this briefing is for parents who are interested to be our parent volunteer to try to secure a place for your child in Admiralty Primary School. And in this case here, this will be particularly important for those parents whose children, the child who you are interested to register in our school, and they should be the one that are born in year 2016. Now, of course, I don't exclude the possibilities that some parents might be interested to attend such a session, even though your child is younger. And we want to spread this news out to the community as well, because definitely some of your own friends or your neighbors might be coming to you and asking you about what to do to secure their children in primary school. And you can tell them that there are schools who are having a parent volunteering program will usually hold this briefing once a year. So it's to watch out for the sessions in these, and you can actually attend it, at least for our school. We actually welcome parents whose children are yet to qualify to register in P1 yet, to even come from these sessions earlier, just so that you get a sense of what are the requirements for a parent volunteer in the school. I think sometimes it's good for parents to perhaps be more proactive and even do this homework before their children are due for primary one registration. Actually, some of the situation that we encounter most of the time in this area is that parents tend to come too late, meaning that right now, the parent volunteer system actually requires the parents to start your voluntary service 1 year in advance of your child's registration. But many parents only come in on that year that their child will be registered in July, August, and then they only come in our talk, say right now in March. So if you're a parent of a child who is actually due to register later on this year, then you are already too late for the parent volunteering service. So we tend to have more parents who are like that. So really our message out to the community is that do spread the news and do tell your friends and neighbors that if they are interested in volunteering to get their child at a higher priority, they actually have to start work a year in advance. So do help us in sharing this this piece of information to your friends and neighbors. And for today's, okay, let me see. Okay, why is it that I'm not able to move? Okay. For today's agenda, for some of you, you might have already attended our virtual open house session, which was held just 1 week before, I think about 2 weeks ago. And within that session, we have roughly explained the different phases of P1 registration. So today we will go through this part here quite quickly. And then spend a little bit more time on the phase 2B and also how the volunteer parent volunteer service would actually qualify you for phase 2B. And then the last part, which is a very big part, will be the one that we will discuss in details about what are the terms and conditions that we uh, impose. Okay, it's not a very nice word, but I think we have to say it that way, that we impose certain terms and conditions, because I think we want to be very upfront about what are our requirements, and for parent volunteers who are signing up, we need you to be very clear what are these requirements, so that you know what you are in for, and that if it's not something that you feel you are comfortable doing, then I think we need to be very clear about that. Yeah. Okay, so that will be the agenda for today's session. All right, so for many of us, if you have attended other schools' open house or even parent volunteer sessions, you would know that our P1 registration is actually divided into 3 phases. Okay, and this has been the case for many, many years. So for many of us, if you have been interested in this area, this will probably not be new to you. So for P1 registration, for a school, we will always try to take in our current students' sibling first, because this is with the consideration to ease the parents' transportation needs to send their children to school. So when the siblings are all attending the same school, it actually will be easier for the parents. So in phase 1, we'll always take in the current students' siblings. But of course, like in most other schools, usually not all the places will be filled up by the siblings. So generally after phase 1, we will still have quite a lot of places that are available for other parents. So next we'll move on to phase 2B. Then at the first part of phase 2B is actually what we call phase 2A. So phase 2A is actually a segment whereby parents who are ex-students or alumni, or one of the siblings the older siblings who attended this school, but if the older siblings has already graduated, then the younger sibling will not qualify for phase 1. They will qualify for phase 2A. So it's slightly one less, because we find that if the older child is already attending another school, which is a secondary school, then this whole thing about transportation, ease of transportation actually would not apply. Because if the parents still insist on sending the secondary school child to school and then sending the primary school, the younger one to the primary school, then you will have 2 trips to make. And whether the younger one is attending the same school or not actually is not material. So that's why the priority will be reduced from phase 1 into phase 2 if the older sibling has already graduated. But by and large, as I've said earlier, most schools would not have their places filled up in phase 1. So generally, even in this case here, if the older siblings attended this school but already graduated, there is still a high chance for the younger siblings to be able to enter the school under phase 2A. So phase 2A also, other than parents being ex-students or older siblings being current or ex-students, there are also 2 other categories of children that will qualify. It will be children of parents who are our school advisory committee. So this number will likely be very, very small, because the school advisory committee generally are not very big. Usually we have about 10 people representing all different categories from our community. Chances of all 10 of them having a child to be sent to the school is not very high. So generally, we don't have a high number in this category. The other category will be children whose parents is actually a staff of the school. So again, this one here, we will have a few, but again, generally, we don't have all our school staff having children all of the same age. So again, each year, the number that comes from this category would also not be very high. Then next, actually after these categories of children that would have a higher priority as compared to the rest, actually all the rest of us will be automatically under phase 2C. Okay, so if you don't have any affiliation with the school, with older siblings or being an alumni, then you will actually automatically qualify for phase 2C if you are a Singapore citizen or Singapore PR. Okay, so the only way in this situation to get yourself ahead of the priority will be to try to do voluntary work, either with the school, or some parents actually already are active members of the RC. So these parents would also qualify under phase 2B. All right, so these will be the two categories of parents that will be able to get ahead of the queue. Phase 3 will be for all international students, and this one here, international students, you would have to register with MOE, and then MOE will centrally post you to the schools using the central mechanism. So you actually cannot register to the school directly for international students. Okay, so that will be the category, that will be the kind of very quick look at what are the different phases of the primary one registration, and understanding the significance of the phase 2B in terms of being able to get ahead of the rest of the other Singapore citizens and PRs who qualify for phase 2C. All right, so um, so the two conditions that are there, one is that the child must be, okay, and the focus is on the child, not so much about the parents, but the child must be a Singapore citizen or a Singapore permanent resident, okay, and the volunteer work must start. Okay, so in this case here, for this briefing, it is for parent volunteers who will be signing up, and you have 1 year from now until next year, July, to complete your work, and um, then your child will be registering after that, which is in July and August. So you will see that we can still probably take in more parent volunteers, but I think for right now, for this year's coming up, we are still taking in. Okay, we are still taking in. So until 1st of July, if they can start, then this is the time that they will still be able to sign up for parent volunteer work. So for some of you who are also considering parent volunteer in other schools, just bear in mind that the deadline is actually by 1st of July. But also bear in mind that some of the schools that are very popular, they might actually close their recruitment of parent volunteer earlier than 1st of July. So this 1st of July is only the latest date set by MOE for all schools. Okay, so by 1st of July, whether the school has already gathered enough parent volunteer or not, after 1st of July, they should not be taking any more in. Okay, and MOE stipulate that the parents should contribute at least 40 hours of voluntary service by the end of next June. Okay, and that in this case here, just also to bear in mind that for many schools, especially the popular schools, this requirement of 40 hours would also differ. Okay, some of the very popular schools I heard might even request for up to 60 hours or 80 hours of service. So these are some of the variations in some of the other schools that for parents who are still looking out for schools, you will want to take note of this. Of course, the active community members will be something that the parents will arrange with their RCs, and if you need further information, you should be approaching your RCs to find out more of the details. Okay, so again, MOE also say that let's make it very clear to the parents that the completion of the 40 hours of voluntary work does not guarantee a place. Okay, because the number of vacancies that are left in phase 1, phase 2A, phase 2A2 are actually unknown. So it's actually very, very difficult to gauge as to how many parent volunteers that we should take in. Generally, for most schools, we, we appreciate parents who want to do volunteer service with us. And generally, I think we have very good relationships with parents who have worked with us very closely for that 40 hours. So we generally, as a school, and for many schools, they probably will feel the same way, is that they actually treasure this group of parents a lot. So we will actually want to make sure that we are able to max out the number that we can take in during this phase. So generally for most schools, we will take in, we will try to take in as many parent volunteers as we can. And therefore, the likelihood is that there will be a balloting situation. So that is the kind of scenario that parents need to be aware of. Um, so and really, there's no way that we are able to estimate this number to a more exact kind of point. Generally, for our school, we will try to make sure that we don't take in many more than what we anticipate in terms of the number of places that will come out in phase 2B. So that is to be fair to the parents. And later on, we'll go into more details about um, how is it that we are treating the parents who are volunteering their service for us. So in the unfortunate event that you get balloted out, what are the kind of assistance that we are able to provide for you? So we'll go through that in more details, but we just want to make it very clear that the 40 hours of service in any school really does not guarantee a place for your child. Okay, so as I said, in the case where the demand is more than the supply, balloting will happen. And this balloting actually happens for all phases. Okay, in a very unlikely scenario that a school have so many siblings in phase 1 that they actually run out of places, then actually balloting will be conducted even in phase 1. Okay, but that scenario is usually very highly unlikely. So generally it's only at phase 2B and phase 2C, and for some of the popular schools, I know that phase 2A, they are even balloting because there's just too many alumni wanting to send their children to that school, and with the governments through the years have been trying um, to give more places in phase 2C. So I think at the latest government announcement recently for the budget debates, there was also some announcement to say that we are going to be reviewing the P1 registration again to give more places in phase 2C. So immediately you see in the forum page that there will be some parents who say that this might actually mean that some of the phase 2B places and even phase 2A places will be further reduced. So that's the scenario that will be coming up in time to come. So we will wait for MOE to release more details on that. So balloting will happen whenever there's a situation of demand more than supply, and that we'll go through in slightly more details in the next slide about how this balloting process will be done. But the next paragraph in this slide here actually also just want to highlight to parents that since 2012, okay, Singapore citizens will have absolute priority over the Singapore permanent residents when there is a balloting. All right, so that's something that is since 2012 when there's an adjustment and differentiation between Singapore citizens and Singapore PR. You actually probably have seen that not just in P1 registration, but in terms of some of the other government services and priority listings, you would probably see this requirement or this condition that the Singapore citizens would actually be prioritized over the PRs. All right, so when balloting happens, what are the different categories? Do we put everybody together and ballot? The answer is no. So when a balloting situation happens, then we straight away will go through this first step process, whereby we will then divide the children into 3 groups. Okay, first group will be children who are living within 1 kilometers of the school. Second group between 1 and 2 kilometers, and third group will be outside 2 kilometers. Okay, now within each of the distance category, everyone will be treated the same. Okay, because like, for example, within 1K, I've had parents who say that, oh, I actually live just right outside your school, but yet I was not successful in getting my child in. So just want to say that once your child is within 1K, uh, living next door to our school or living slightly further away from our school, you are considered same category. So we actually can't further differentiate to say that, oh, if you are living next door, you actually have a higher priority compared to someone who are living maybe 2 steps away. So we actually can't have that. So that's something that we also like the parents to also take note of, is that in this whole division of the different categories, once you are within one categories, everybody will be treated the same. Okay, so once we divide the students into the various categories, then we will look into the scenario. So we know that there is a differentiation between citizens and PR, and also there is the three distance category. So now let's look at scenario one. So in scenario one, if we happen to have 50 vacancies in any phase, in any specific phase, but in this case here, maybe let's just say that it is for 2B, or maybe we say for 2C, maybe that's more generic. So let's say that in phase 2C, okay, we have 50 vacancies and there are 61 children who apply. So then we will look into the differentiation of the students in a different category. So just now I said already that Singapore citizens would have absolute priority. So now you look at this case here that when we split the children into two groups, the Singapore citizen and PR, and now you see that within the Singapore citizens, you already have 56 students, which is more than the 50 vacancies that we have. So in this case here, under this rule of Singapore citizens having absolute priority, all the PRs will automatically be out and excluded. So automatically out means that you wouldn't even get a chance to ballot. Okay, so the PR in this stage will be all excluded already. So now we are left with 56 Singapore citizens. So now because 56 is still more than the 50 vacancies, so now we start to look into the different distance categories. Okay, so within 1K, we have 38 of them. So 38 is still within the number 50. So we will take in all 38 children from within 1K. So these 38 children, they are automatically in. They do not need to ballot. Okay, so after we take in 38 out of the 50 vacancies, we are now left with 12 positions. So next we look at within 1 to 2K. Again, 10 students within this category and we have 12 vacancies. So automatically, those within 1 to 2K, these 10 children, you will all be in. No need to ballot. So once we take in 10 children, we are now left with 2 places. We go on to the next category, outside of 2K. We only have 2 places, but we have 8 applicants in this category. So now these 8 students will ballot for the 2 places. Okay, so that will be how the decision is being made and the eventual part about how many will ballot for how many places. Okay, so in this case here, it will be 8 balloting for 2 places. PR totally out. All right, so that's scenario 1. Okay, let's look at another example. Scenario 2, whereby it is still 50 vacancies, but now we have 54 children who have applied. So again, let's look at the Singapore citizen and PR split. All right, so Singapore citizens, we have 47. PR, we have 7. Okay, so altogether is 54, but because Singapore citizens have absolute priority over PR, so the 47 Singapore citizens, all of them are in. So we don't need to look at the distance category at all for the Singapore citizen. 47 Singapore citizens, all of them are in. So all the Singapore citizens, after we take them in, we are now left with 3 places. So 3 places come to PR, we have 7 PRs. So definitely more than the number of places we need to ballot. So when we need to ballot, okay, let's look at the distance category. Okay, so within 1K, there are 4. Okay, and we have 4 vacancies. Sorry, just now I said, no, sorry, we have 3 vacancies. Okay, we have 3 vacancies. So in this case here, let me see, am I getting it right?
Yes.
I'm getting it right now. How come the answer there is not the same? Balloting at 1, less than 1, okay, correct. So, okay, so I have 3 vacancies. I have 4 PRs. So I will need to ballot. So these 4 PRs within 1 kilometers will ballot for 3 places. Okay, and all the rest of the students that are outside 1K, they will be automatically excluded from the balloting. All right. So eventually, in this case here, it will be 4 children within 1K balloting for 3 vacancies at the PR category. So that will be 2 scenarios, and we hope that with that, it clarifies more about how the balloting process will take place. Okay, so just now I mentioned that. So for parents who have done your volunteer work with us, so number one, I think we want to stress that we, at least for our school, we generally do not take in many more parent volunteers than we can handle. Okay, so we will take in enough, um, but unfortunately, when there's a balloting situation, there will be some that will be balloted out. So what is the kind of a thing that we can do for you? Okay, so think of these points here. So if you are unsuccessful in phase 2B, then generally we will tell you that you will need to go and secure a place in another school first under phase 2C. Because after phase 2B, it will phase 2C. So in phase 2C, make sure that you register your child officially in another school first. Okay, so that will be the first step. All right, so after that, then after the phase 2C, we will open up our wait list, and we welcome parent volunteers who are unsuccessful in the phase 2B to register with us in your wait list, in our wait list, okay, in our wait list. Now, just take note, our wait list will definitely not be open before phase 2C, and you definitely must already register your child before you are in another school. You already get a confirmed place in another school before you can register on our wait list. Okay, why is that so? It's because in the past, we do have some parents who perhaps they are trying to play the game to say that, oh, I also want to get into this school. I refuse to register my child in phase 2C. I want to force the cut on the school to have to take me in. Okay, just want to say that this will not happen. Okay, this cannot happen, and we will not allow that. MOE does not allow that, so that's why we want to make it very clear to the parents that we will not take you in on our wait list unless we see that you already registered your child in another school. All right, so, okay, so in our case here, I just want to say now, this is not inside here. The wait, okay, so generally when um, parents are out for phase 2B, they now sign up for our phase 2C. They ask, so how long do I have to wait? So we just want to say that the amount of time that you have to wait will be, to me, a maximum of 2 years. Okay, it will be a maximum of 2 years. Of course, we hope that you don't have to wait for that long. Okay, but unfortunately, the vacancy situation is not something that we can control. We will only have a vacancy at P1 or P2 if, let's say, there are withdrawal of current students who are already registered in our school. And this sometimes happen because the children or the family shift to another location, and therefore withdraw their children from our school to be registered in another school nearer to their new residence. Another situation will be that the parents need to work overseas, and the whole family would have to relocate temporarily to an overseas location, and therefore they will have to temporarily withdraw from our school. Okay, so even though it is a temporary withdrawal, we still keep a place for them, but that place is also open up to take in more students. So this will be the scenario whereby we are able to take in students within the first 2 years. But if not, then generally, because some of us might know that at primary 1 and 2, the class size is small, so there's 30 students in one class. And then when we move on to primary 3, the standard class size becomes 40. So this is actually a particular situation that in our school case, when we move from P2 to P3, we actually do have some other vacancies that are open up because of this change in terms of the class size. So definitely, if we are not successful in taking you in within the first 2 years, we will be able to take you in after the initial 2 years when your child enter P3. Okay, so that will be the scenario about what we are able to help you in terms of the wait list. Okay, now the priority placement. So some of you might ask that, okay, so once I'm being placed on the wait list, how does the school decide on the priority? So the way we are deciding on our priority will be based on the number of PV hours that you serve us um, when there's a vacancy. So meaning that most of us will qualify the minimum requirement once you have served your 40 hours. But for those PVs who are willing to serve beyond the 40 hours, then these additional hours will come in handy when it comes to the placement of priority on the wait list for us. Okay, so this is just something that we want to share with everyone. So next we go on to so I've covered basically the phase 2B and the different phases of the primary one registration. So right now I'm moving on to talk about uh, the terms and conditions for parent volunteers. So I think the first statement that we will make is that this is for all schools. All schools reserve the autonomy to select the applicants for their parent volunteers. So I think this is the flexibility that MOE gives to the school, because different schools have different needs. Some schools might need parents who have certain kind of expertise, so they might actually favor a certain group of parents with certain kind of background more than others. So that will be the situation for schools to decide. And we were just want to say that we reserve the rights to be selective about our applicants, but I think generally we just want to also say that we generally take in all kinds of parents, and the only situation will be for parent volunteers who we might feel that there is a misalignment between what our school is for and what the parents actually feel they want for their children. So under this kind of situation, we might say that, well, under this kind of case, we might talk to the parent volunteer to say that, well, perhaps this is not the right school for you and your family. So these are some of the things that we will go through, but MOE do give us the autonomy to select the PVs that we would want to work with. All right, so in our case here, the 40 hours would also be divided into 10 hours of compulsory duties and 30 hours of ad hoc duties. Now, the 10 hours of compulsory duties would be the gate duty and traffic control duties. All right, so our staff will let you know in terms of the category of work that you are doing, whether it is the compulsory duties or whether it is the ad hoc duties. So why do we have compulsory duties? It's because these duties are of high needs for us. So every day we do need a certain number of people to help the school in terms of the traffic control. So we really do need to make sure that we have a constant supply of parent volunteers to help us in this area. So that's why we have to put that as our compulsory duty, that all parents volunteer who sign up for our school, we do need you to at least clock at least 10 hours of gate duty and traffic control duties. For some parents, if they find that this timing actually works well for them and they want to do more beyond the 10 hours, actually we do welcome that as well. All right, some of the other ad hoc duties would include canteen duties, library duties, data entries, so on and so forth. Some of these duties are currently not permitted because of the safe distance management that the government is imposing on the whole country. But once the situation is in better control and the whole country is slowly opening up, we will find that some of these activities can start to resume, and that we will be actually able to engage you to help us with some of these activities. So other terms and conditions, these are points that we want to highlight to the parents, because in the past we do encounter parents who who perhaps let me maybe be very direct, that perhaps have certain thinking or certain value systems that we find, how come we never thought that parents would think of things that way. So sometimes certain things we want to make sure that we are very upfront about how we feel things needs to be done or should be done, and then we ask for parents' understanding. And if parents don't agree with that, then I will say that, yeah, this is not the right school for these parents. So I'll go through the points. So parents are strongly encouraged to provide continuous service. Um, and so because there are parents who, I understand that because of your work situation, sometimes you say that I'm actually more free during this period of time. Can the school try to give me all the duties within this period so that I can just finish the 40 hours once and for all? So our answer would be that, well, we'll try, but we actually prefer the continuous one. We will try if, let's say, you have certain restriction to avoid certain months, but if it's too restrictive, then I think there is only so much that we can do to accommodate to your working kind of constraints. Okay, so the continuous service requirement also is an area that we wanted to put in, because we say that if it's a continuous stretch of service rather than a short burst, it will help to build a sustained personal involvement and commitment on both sides, us to you and also from the parents to us as well. And we find that this kind of longer term arrangement actually will help better in terms of supporting our effort to and we hope that this is something that we will continue even after your children register in our school, that such longer term commitments are actually better in terms of raising our children, be it your own children or the children in our schools that come in contact with you. With your collaboration with us, we hope that we are able to raise our children well, so that they are well balanced and that they will become outstanding and responsible individuals. All right, so we just want to say that under certain conditions, we want to reserve the rights to remove a parent volunteer. And the conditions are as follows. So if the parent volunteers does not respond to the school's attempt to contact them prior to their assignments, so 3 times or more. So this 3 times is just the condition that we fix. All right, and we just want to say that 3 times. Beyond that, I would say that it is a case-by-case basis. We just want to say that beyond 3 times, this statement here make it very clear that we will not take in, but we also want to say that we also want to be understanding that if the 3 times, in whatever thing that we are saying here, 3 times of non-contactable or 3 times that you reject us, if they are for good reasons, actually we will not be so sticky about the rules here. But we just want to say that for parents who really, there is no way we are able to find common times whereby you are able to come in to serve. Again, we just want to say that beyond 3 times, we want to start considering whether, again, this is the right school for you, because your working requirement actually does not meet the kind of job that we have to offer to you. So maybe it's better that we call it quit, so that you can quickly go and look for another school. So parents who are not able who does not respond to us, so sometimes we can't even contact them. Parents who repeatedly turn down the school requests, or parents, okay, this third one is also something that is very serious. We do have PV that, after asking them to come into school to sort out the goodie bags, in the end, my staff have to resort all the goodie bags because the parents have repeated items into the same bags, and then the bags will have items that are missing, and in the end, my staff have to go through the whole thing again. So it's as though that the parent volunteer did not help us at all. So under this kind of situation, we will want to say that the most serious case, of course, is that we would request that the PV stop serving us. Of course, maybe the initial phase will be like, we will tell the parents that, I'm sorry that 2 hours of work that you have done to us, we have to void that because it wasn't helpful at all. Okay, so that is something that we want to say up front. Okay, there are also other requirements. D is probably the same line of thoughts as the previous one about how the PV, other than the goodie bags, but any other service that have certain requirements in terms of the duty of care that we need the PV to help us with. And if let's say that we say that, oh, PV helping us um, to guard the students while they are performing a certain activities. If we find that throughout the whole activities, the parents is just there, more interested in their handphones and messaging than supervising the children, then I would say that, I'm sorry, this is not a performance that is meeting our expectations. Okay. Part E is also that we do have parents sometimes, as they are doing work for us, we start hearing news about how when they go out, they start to say this and that about our school. Then I think in this kind of situation, we also want to have a word with the parents that in this kind of situation, whether this is really the right school. I mean, if you have unhappiness about the school, if you find that the school is really very disorganized or the way we teach is not good enough, then I would say let's just cut it off, and because you will not be a happy parents in our school anyway. So I think that's something that we want to be very upfront about in terms of the suitability of PV, both for us and for you as well. Okay, if these are the situations that you're encountering with the school, then really you should also consider whether this is the right school for you. Okay, so other terms and conditions that we want to, again, because of the different situation we encountered previously, we want to be upfront with some of these following points. So only parents of the child can render the service. Okay, the piece of work cannot be done by relatives, cannot be done by friends, cannot be done by colleagues or domestic helpers, or even the grandparents. Okay, we have cases whereby parents ask whether their parents, that means the grandparents of the child, is able to do the service. The answer is no. Only the parents, that means the father or the mother, will be able to do the service. Okay, and there's no such thing about taking the work home and then passing it on to the colleagues, or getting some of the colleagues to do certain work and then qualifies that as a service provided to the school. So these are all situations that we say no. Okay, and if we ever find out, we will again void those hours or even consider removing the PV altogether. All right, and we also ask that for those of us with younger children even, we want to ask that no other children should be brought along while you are rendering the service. Because usually for a situation like that, the parents will be distracted. So instead of being able to focus on the work that they should be doing, they also have to keep an eye on the younger child that they have brought with them. So in this case here, this will not work out. So we will say that when you are rendering the service with us, okay, we will not allow you to bring any other child along. Okay, and there's no sharing of work between spouses, and to count it as double duties. So just bear in mind here that the parent volunteer service, the 40 hours is count per child. So the 40-hour service can be done by you or your spouse, okay, and a combination of either one. So it doesn't have to be all done by one of the parents. Okay, it's either one of you, and that you can take, and both of you can come to the school together to clock the hours, but provided that it is actually two persons share of work. Okay, it cannot be I give you a person's share of work, you take it, you divide it into two between you and your spouse, and then because the work is being half already, but you still want to clock it as double time because you say two people are performing the work. Okay, so we just want to say that in this kind of situation, we would not allow that. Okay, we also ask that you also be a bit kind of wary about the requirement of the school in terms of the appropriate clothing and footwear. So just be very, very aware of that. Just sometimes, gentlemen, also sometimes can be a little bit too casual in terms of wearing the shorts. And we know that Singapore weather is hot. And sometimes ladies, in particular, sometimes also we have to ask that, say, these are things that okay, it's embarrassing for me to say out loud because I'm a man, but these are actually situations that we do encounter, that there are ladies coming in with spaghetti straps, and we really have to tell them to kind of be aware about this situation, and especially when they have to go into a class, then actually this might get us into a rather embarrassing situations and awkward with the parents and the children. So again, also in terms of appropriate attire, it also depends on the kind of activities that you're supporting us. So say, for example, if you are supporting us for camps, then really you should not be wearing your office wear to us. And particularly if, let's say, when you're not wearing the appropriate attire, it actually limits your ability to be able to help us with certain things. Then of course that would be something that we would like you to be very aware of. Um, Okay, the last point that we have is about the flexibility and expectation of job and timings. So just want to also bear in mind that the school operations is from Monday to Fridays. We have very few activities in the weekend, very few as in almost none. Okay, so if you want to say, oh, I actually more free in the weekend, can the school give me work in the weekend? The answer will be no. Okay, so there will be no activity in the weekends usually, and even if we have activities, it will not be enough to clock 40 hours. Okay, so it is a 5-day work week within office hours. We don't even have a lot of activities at night other than camps, which will be a special arrangements. But the general work that we have do not tend to have go past office hours. So that's something that we need you to take note. 5-day work week within office hours, this will be the majority of the work that we have available for parents. All right. Okay, so this is again a rule that we want to say because we don't want to get into a situation whereby parents were not able to complete the 40 hours, but yet they say, oh, but it's a school who is not able to provide enough work for us. Now, we just want to say that as a school, our responsibility is that when we engage this number of parent volunteers, okay, we make sure that we do have this number of hours of work, that we need this number of parents. Okay, but if because there's all these different requirements and different things that doesn't work out in terms of the working hours of the parents and us, then we want to say that parents, please, you need to be very aware if really our work hours cannot match, then you will want to reconsider your position as a parent volunteer for our school. Okay, because really it will be unfortunate if, let's say, you have already got 30 hours and because of your work arrangement you are not able to complete the remaining 10 hours. Okay, but we just want to say that we will try our best to help, but ultimately the ball is in your courts, parents, in terms of that. So the number of 40 hours, we will do our best to help you to clock in, but ultimately, please don't get us, all of us, that means the school and yourself, into this situation of argument about school not giving you the 40 hours. All right. Okay, so just want to highlight a few other points for those who are still thinking whether you want to sign up as parent volunteers. So we just want to know that if, let's say, you are living outside the 2 kilometers, do bear in mind that if you are in this category, then by the time your child entered this school, you most likely will be either sending the child to the school through school bus, or that you have to fetch the children to school, and the morning traffic and things like that will be something that you have to endure every morning, and whether this is something that is sustainable. Okay, and of course, school buses are not cheap these days, and we just want to say that again, school buses prices are going up. It's not getting any cheaper, and this will be something that is substantial, and the the amount of leverage that the school can have in terms of controlling the pricing of the school buses is actually very, very small. So we know parents come to us and complain about the school buses, but we say that no, actually in MOE's schooling system, the encouragement is always choose a school that is near enough to you such that the child can walk to school. And for Admiralty Primary, we just want to say that we do have a large majority of our students who actually walk to school every day. All right, so the proximity of the school is actually the consideration here as well. And from the example that we have discussed just now, in terms when it comes to balloting, if you stay nearer to the school, your chances will also be better. Okay, and the line in red is again a standard line that we always say because of that differentiation between Singapore citizenships and PR. We will also say that for PR, and especially in the past, whereby a lot of PR are actually on the fence, here it is that it's just another line that when we have this kind of differentiated policy, is really because we do really want our PRs to seriously consider really settling in Singapore and take up the Singapore citizenship. So this is really very much a benign, we hope you see that it's a benign request and for consideration, but it's nothing more than that. So, but we of course respect your decision when it comes to the citizenship. All right, so just also last point, because this is a common question that people will ask, how many vacancies do we usually have and the number of places at each phase. So we just want to say that generally we are expecting that MOE will allow us to take in 210 students at P1. It has been like this for the last few years, so we also are anticipating that this will be the case. Of course, these are just all estimation and the number could change as MOE move on and release the numbers to us. Phase one, generally, if you look at the past trend, we are saying that conservatively, we might expecting about 90 students, there will be 90 places that will be taken up in phase one. Phase 2A, again, these are just based on past numbers. We are expecting about 24, and actually these are all estimations. So they are not meant to be exact figures. So you know that roughly we are anticipating about 48 for phase 2B and 48 for phase 2C. So that's the kind of numbers that we are looking at in terms of the number of places for each phases. Okay, so again, the parent volunteer system is actually, again, something that, as we have said, we enjoy our working relationship with our parent volunteers, and we just want to say that we really treasure our relationship with you. So for those parent volunteers, if you find the experience very positive. You have enjoyed your 40 hours with us. Your children are successful in registering into our schools. We really want to encourage that you continue to volunteer your service with us as one of our parent support group members to develop that long-term relationship. Okay, so in terms of I'm not so sure from our staff, the terms and conditions will be a set of documents that we will require you to sign. So after this briefing, later on, our staff would come in contact with you because some of you, we know that you have already signed up these forms, so there's actually no problem. But for those of you who have not signed up, then our staff would also get in contact with you, or you can call up the office to let us know your position, and then we would also direct you accordingly to sign the appropriate form with the terms and conditions. Okay, so with that, that's all from me, and we will now take the questions, and let me take a look. Okay, let me just take a look. Okay. Just sorry. Check the battery levels. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Perhaps I can ask parents to see if you have questions. So I can't see the chat right now. So I assume that for those of us who have put in questions in the chat, they have been answered. So right now, anyone who have any questions, you can just unmute your mic and let us know.
Hi, this is Lily's from Xinyi's Mommy. Just want
Hi.
to ask Mr. Chu, is it possible to give a explain on phase 2B piloting for the PV for those like we have joined for the parents volunteer? How this scenario will be goes to?
It will be the same. So I think just now when we have the two scenarios, were you at this part of the meeting? So this actually applies for parent volunteers. So for parent volunteers, again, there will also be Singapore citizens and PRs. So again, once there's a balloting situation, we will look at how many of our parent volunteers are Singapore citizens, how many are PRs, and the scenario will apply.
Okay, thank you. So just want to confirm that, for example, for the parents volunteer will, for example, if with less than 2 kilometer, which is Singaporean, but the total numbers which is out of the vacancies, so the parents volunteer will be automatic with like balloting. But unfortunately, if it's not able to get the chances, so you're not able to flow to phase 2C, right? So we need to re-register to other school, or maybe we can re-register in under phase 2C again in primary school of the MNT.
Okay, so if you are talking about whether parent volunteers who are out of this phase, be it not able to ballot at all or ballot but then not successful, can you register in phase 2C? The answer to that is that technically yes, but unlikely, because number one, our phase 2C balloting so far over the past few years has been within 1 kilometer. And for our parent volunteer, um, we are anticipating that the balloting will not be balloting within 1K. So if let's say parent volunteers, the balloting is, let's say, outside 2K. So those parent volunteers who are within 2K, you will already be in. If you are out, it's because you are outside 2K. And once you are outside 2K, when it comes to phase 2C, when the balloting is within 1K, you will still not be able to qualify. So that's why we are saying that if you are out, if you are not successful in phase 2B, then most likely you will not qualify for phase 2C distance-wise. And therefore, we encourage you to look for another school.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you so
Okay,
much,
thank
Mr.
you.
for explaining.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
I want to check something about the situation change of parents. For example, I may apply citizenship, but maybe after volunteer, then I don't know how all this PR status change to the citizenship when I apply my kids for the school. So I don't know how should I report this status changes.
Just share with us, and we do have a past situation like that, whereby the citizenship conversion is in process, and some of these things here is a case-by-case basis that we might have to report your situation to MOE and to see whether you will qualify as a citizen, or maybe it is still too early in the process that we are not able to consider you as a citizen, and that we still have to treat you as a PR. So for those who are interested to convert, we would say that start your process as early as possible, and then along the way, let us know the progress of your whole application, and then for us, if need to, we will also surface it up to MOE for further clarifications. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. All right. Any other? Yep. Come. I'm hearing some
Hello.
parents. Hi.
I have just one quick question. So for those
Yes.
register volunteer, right? So we use same message inform us or phone call or email.
Okay. Sorry. Is reply? Okay. I think a reply has been made. Let me see. There are various ways of signing up through phone calls, and I think we do release the information about the work available, and we are also trying to move into ICT. So some of the things that we are experimenting might be about our staff, either be calling you, messaging you, or writing email to you. If you have all those contact ways that you have given to us, we will probably share with you a list of work that are available in whichever date, and then either it's an online system or a reply system for you to sign up. Yeah.
Okay. Not. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. If there are no other questions, I
Sorry.
think Yeah, come. Yes, please.
May I know where to download the application form, the PA application form?
Okay, the foreign volunteer application form, our school website today. No, but last. Okay, we'll be uploading the slides later on onto our school website, and then the link to the form is actually in the last slide of this presentation. Okay, so, sorry. So okay, so you can go to this slide, and then the information will be there, and the link to the application form is included there as well. All right.
Okay, once I fill up this application form, I submit through email or by the hard copy to the school.
Okay, it can be either one. Yeah,
Okay,
it can be either one. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. I have one more question to ask.
Yes.
For the balloting wise, for your experience or your school's experience, for the past few years, for within 1 kilometer, did you have any chances that the applicants, which is the amount of the applicants, which is over than the vacancies?
Sorry, you was
about within 1 kilometers, the students who register for your schools, the amount of the student registered to your school under the 1 kilometer in phase 2C, which is over the vacancies you are given, which is the 50.
Okay, it really depends. Sometimes, okay, this one here varies from year to year because it depends on the kind of risk appetite of the parents. So let's say, for example, if our vacancy is 48, and we know that the balloting is within 1K, so most likely you know that the number of parents who have already signed up, and that is also a number that is very public, and everyone can see how many have already registered in this phase here. So it's really up to the parents as to how, what is the chance, and whether it's a chance that you will want to take before you decide whether you want to sign up. Now, I think for us, okay, we do hear, because newspaper do report, a situation whereby 50 vacancies, but yet there is like 200 people signing up. So these are for the very, very popular school. Okay, so for us, we would just say that we are not like that. Okay, we are, our popularity is not at such a high level that people are willing to take this kind of amount of risk. So generally, if let's say 48, we can generally see about maybe 60 that have signed up, and generally beyond that, the number will kind of taper.
So if for your advice, for example, with the PB, which is for example, if the PB was not able to get the chances to go into the phase 2B, how we going the parents, or you advise, like for example, going to the MOE list, we can check out the schools, how is the vacancies, how we monitor, for example, for the past few years, whether the numbers of applicants and the vacancies has been front out in the website so that we can know we can
Yes, it is open.
It's
During the P1 registration period, all the vacancies of all the schools are being listed in the MOE website. So it's available for all parents to see, and they are regularly updated.
How we know that for the first past few years, we that monitor from that school so that we can choose the correct one to ensure that our children was able to secure.
Okay, MOE do not release, okay, once the year's registration is ended, these information will be taken away from the website. So every year, it will only be the data for that year that is made available. Data about the school for the past years will not be released to the public.
Oh, so this is all depends our choice on the year itself. So
Yes.
we wouldn't know.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I see. Thank
And
you,
it will
Mr.
change. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your answering.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Pei. Just want to
Yes, hi.
check when will we notify about the successful of the PV application? When the school will notify us?
PV application, once you sign up, is considered in.
In,
So
right?
it's
Okay.
it's about when we will activate the work. So right now, just want to say that right now, because the previous batch is still doing work with us, so we are still trying to fill up the last few parents who are still yet to complete their 40 hours with us. So only when, let's say, these parents are not able to fit our schedule, then we will start activating this new batch. You are considered the new batch of PV. So this will be something that is going to kind of start in a gradual manner. So once you sign up, you probably won't hear from us for a while because we are still trying to fill up the hours for the previous batch of PV. But once we have situation whereby the older batch can't fit our schedule, members from this batch will start to be activated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So it will not be something whereby everyone will be activated at the same time. Yeah, so it's not going to be like a big launch and everybody come in to do work. It might be one or two of you might get notified. So if your friends who are all signing up, you will find that you might find that some of the friends already were called upon, but then you still have not received a phone call yet. But again, generally, we want to be fair to all parents, so we will not like have our favorite parents that we will go and keep calling. We will actually have a system whereby if we need to call you, we will actually try to spread it out, or if not, we will actually be sending out emails about all the available work, and then everyone will know it at the start, and then you can sign up. Yep. Sorry, for those raising hands, would you want to unmute yourself? Thank you.
Sorry, I have one question.
Yes.
How long advance will you inform us to start the volunteer job?
Okay, like I said, right now, once you sign up, you're considered in. Generally, we are still trying to fill up the hours for the previous batch. But definitely after June, okay, definitely after June, because all the hours for the previous batch has to end by then. So beyond that, you would be activated, definitely. So if nothing else, by 1st of July, you will be activated. But there's a likelihood that you might be called upon earlier than that when we have hours that the current PVs are not able to fulfill.
Okay, then
Okay.
how will you inform us to start the volunteer job by email or phone?
Yes, we can call, various ways. We probably will call first, but we might also be sending out emails to you. So it really depends.
So roughly is how many days will you want to inform? Like 1 week or 3 days or 5 days like that?
We will try to give you as as far ahead a notice as possible. But if you really cannot, you find that it's too rushed, just let us know that you are not able to change your schedule under a short notice. Then that will be something that we will take note as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But there will be enough
I got
work.
one more. I got one more question.
Yes, please.
Is parent allowed to drive their car to the schools?
You will have to park at the car park nearby and walk
Car
in.
park nearby,
Because,
so you cannot drive into the schools. Yeah.
You can drive in, but you can't park here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can't park.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There's no parking space. Yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else, then if you have further questions, just feel free to write in to us or call up our office to inquire. And really thank you everyone for taking time to participate in this session. We will call these sessions a close, and you may exit from the session. Thank you very much, parents, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your briefing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.